Hey, I'm Mark Burgess from the English band The Chameleons. This is my best friend Ricky. First off, I want to make it absolutely clear that this is not an appeal for money or donations, but it is an appeal for a few minutes of your time and attention as I try to get across what I feel is a very important message. As a working musician and an avid traveller, I've had the opportunity to visit many countries all around the world, and for the most part, these experiences have been really positive. I'm also a great friend and lover of animals, and during my time I've been involved in various campaigns to help the plight of animals at the hands of humans, many of whom seem to regard animals as little more than either a resource, something to be used, or a nuisance. I've raised money for the rehabilitation of bears in Greece and Turkey, cats, dogs, tigers, elephants in Thailand, dolphins and whales across the world's oceans. Closest to my heart though, I think, because of the deep social and emotional relationship we share with them, is the plight of cats and dogs, especially those that find themselves without a home or a safe haven and they're forced to forage for themselves on the often hostile streets of our towns and cities. Of the two, our feline friends, cats, are the more adaptable and most adept at taking care of themselves in the wild, although obviously they really need our help too. Our canine friends, on the other hand, dogs, they're far more reliant on people due to their generational domestication, and they're far more visible and identifiable as strays on our streets. The stray dog can often be perceived as a threat, although they rarely kill or attack even when they're starving. These animals don't thrive well alone and abandoned, however, and sadly it's a matter of time before they meet their end, either through starvation or at the hands of the society that has so callously discarded them. Hundreds of volunteers and charity-funded organisations the world over that share my concern for these creatures work tirelessly to try to save as many as they can, caring for them until homes can be found, or humanely neutering them to try to stem the flow of the problem. And they do a magnificent job, but sadly, it's just not enough. Whether due to economic problems or merely disdain or neglect, more and more of these creatures are finding themselves scavenging on the periphery of society until eventually they're rounded up by local authorities and disposed of in the most callous way imaginable. If a society can be judged by the quality of its mercy, then most of the countries in the so-called civilized world fall way, way short. Nowhere has this been brought home to me more than in the European country of Romania, where literally millions of dogs have been brutally rounded up and killed over the last 30 years, and whose government have done very little, if anything, to humanely address the problem. I had the opportunity recently to visit Bucharest and some of the surrounding districts with my Romanian girlfriend. It's such a great country to visit. Great food, great people, great bars and restaurants, beautifully historic, and yet highly sophisticated. So it blows my mind that a country that cool could be so cruel to a creature that has so much love and loyalty and joy to give people. So I'm calling on all of you, artists, bloggers, vloggers, poets, writers, musicians, or anyone, regardless of what you do in life, if you care as much as I do for these animals, please voice your outrage and write to the Romanian government. Ask them why they've spent over €1 million rounding up these animals and brutally killing them, instead of addressing the root of the problem by way of neutering programs alongside the specialist volunteer organisations that exist in that country. Programs that have already been successful to some extent, to a great extent anyway, in countries like Thailand and the United Kingdom, the United States and Germany and so many others. Urge them instead to use this money to establish organised neutering centres and promote responsible ownership. Seeing the brutal way the Romanian government is dealing with this problem, it's traumatising for adults. So I mean, imagine how traumatising it is for our children who see this going on in the streets. If enough of us write to them, maybe, just maybe, we can make a difference. Maybe we can shame them enough to want to adopt a fresh and more humane approach. Maybe they'll get the message and maybe they won't, but at the very least, if you're an animal lover, and especially a dog lover like I am, at least you'll feel that you've tried. And it's not going to cost you a dime, right? It's a postage stamp or an email. Dogs are teachers, you know. My first dog, Sam, taught me what unconditional love was. So in that respect, he's the greatest teacher that I've ever had. That's right. They're often our closest friends. When life drags us down, they're there for us. They can be our rescuers. My second dog, Adam, almost gave his life once protecting me from danger. Dogs have found people buried under earthquakes or avalanches. They've searched for the missing. They've even been known to be decorated for bravery by the military. These creatures deserve our respect, not our contempt. Please, 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 help us to help them. Thank you for your time. Say bye-bye, Ricky. Bye-bye. Thank you.